IVM.
Yes, it's all available on Storytel. By all, I mean great books. Some have changed my life. One which comes to mind immediately is, and don't laugh, Right Body for You. That's right. A book I read from start to finish. It didn't change my body, but it changed my look at how I look at my body, which is I don't look at it anymore. But Right Body for You will help you gain the kind of figure or physique that you want. I know this is true because I've gone and seen people change in front of my eyes. That's because I used to work at a tailor's shop, but that's another story. Right Body for You. So keep in mind that if you go through storytel.com/IVM, you get a 30-day free trial as against a 14-day free trial on the link. All right, it's very simple. All you got to do is log on to storytel.com/IVM. Millions and millions and millions of stories, many written by me. All that and more. Find it all on Storytel. Kripaya dhyan dijiye. The language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Okay, cock and bull time, which is, of course, the point where everybody gets excited and says, yes, we will put off this podcast. And today we have Shreyas Manohar, comedian extraordinaire, coming back after a long time. He has lots to say. And Abbas, unfortunately or fortunately, cannot be parted from me. We are like Lennon and McCartney. We put music back into music.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
All right, Cyrus Says, soon to become cock and bull. Before that, I saw one of the 9 wonders of the world, 10 actually, somewhere in Mumbai. I won't mention the location, between the other in car. And I saw something which was an eye-opener. A policeman on duty, traffic cop, wearing a fractured left hand, I remember clearly, and right hand was in a sling. Left hand was fractured in the fracture thing without a sling, and this one was in a sling, and he's doing duty. And my point was, the only thing he needs when that's his job is his hands. Yeah. So he can't do anything. He's here, and even if he put a whistle in his mouth, someone has to come and put it out, because he can't move his hands. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And the poor guy was made to do duty that way. And he was actually trying to help. I could see him moving his head, overcompensating with his head and all that. Almost like one of those classical dancers in the middle of nowhere. Just an amazing story. I'm thinking if that's your vocation and you need your hands like a referee or an umpire or a traffic cop, and your hands are fractured or broken and can't be used, you have to be given injury time off. It's called, Cyrus Says, going into cock and bull. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is me, Eva Bhatt, your host for the podcast 9XM Soundcast. This podcast is produced by India's largest music network, 9X Media. We have been catering music and you have been enjoying. And now we bring you a podcast where music inspires. Every week, I interact with some of the best minds from the music industry to understand their creative discipline. Every new episode will feature artists who will share inspiring notes from their journey, some valuable tips for budding artists. So do subscribe to the podcast where music inspires. Enjoy a brand new episode of 9XM Soundcast every Tuesday on IVM Podcast app or website or wherever you get your podcast from.
Okay, only excited person as usual is myself, but we have a young man who's walked in to bat with us after a long time. He's a comedian. Mr. Manohar has been there 2 or 3 times before.
Yes, I've been here a couple of times.
And both times he said was a disaster for him. Not personally, but being around morons and idiots, and he's had a terrible time. And we were just discussing before we start, because both of you are stand-up comedians. Yeah. And let's explain to them the world of stand-up comedians. You all are in the earlier part of your careers, and you actually see, for my money, the funniest part of being a stand-up comedian, which is crowds who don't listen. Organizers who are complete shoots, let's call them for what they are, because they just say, you have to go. Why do you have to go if the audience is not listening? I don't understand. The idea is that people should have a good time. So if they're not having a good time, you stop that bit. Right. So now let's quickly go through your experiences. Abbas, you were telling us offline.
I was talking about a show that I did at Ghatkopar RCT Mall, in the middle of the mall. Which
is every comic's dream. But
I had right across, like a few steps from me, there was a woman selling a car. So she had her own mic, and I had my mic. So it was a competition of who's louder.
Yeah. And she had the option of giving discounts and all.
Exactly.
So you can only tell jokes.
I was essentially performing to grandparents and children. So I couldn't use bad language. I couldn't use adult humor.
So your jokes were basically what about a lollipop and popcorn? And
exactly. I remember in the middle, I was because I started off asking people where they were from, and there was one guy who was from Vadodara, and I was supposed to do 45 minutes, and about 15 minutes in, he just got up with his children, came up to me to the stage, bottom of the stage, extended his hand, and was like, "Chalo, mere train ka time ho gaya."
Super. Now that's a punchline.
In the middle of my set.
How sweet of him.
It was very sweet of him.
He gave you the respect and dignity that you deserve.
Yeah,
he said, "Look, I'd love to stay, but train is train, and this time it's on time, so mere ko jana padega." And he took off. Yeah.
So and 45 minutes means they were paying me for 45 minutes, so I had to do 45 minutes.
But they pay you by the minute, like it's $1 a minute, for example, then you can return $5.
No, I wish that's how it was.
I would happily do it. I'd be like, no one's listening. Here's $10. I'm out.
So I had to endure that for 45 minutes, and I could. If I got down earlier, then they'd
shoot you because the present government is very strict. Yeah. Comedians know your place. But just quickly, we're making light of the situation. But isn't it terrible when you just get up there and suddenly realize no one's listening and they're wandering around and some chick with a mic is screaming about, you will get Hyundai at special offer before Diwali. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was just, I was just ticking it off in my head. I'm like, okay, 10 more minutes to go, 7 more minutes to go, 5 more minutes, all of that. After this, I will have a meal in the food court. Like that was in my head.
I'm sure the audience was thinking the exact same
What
thing.
audience? There was no audience. People were just
after this, you'll have a meal in the food court means it's like communist comedy. Because that's all they got in Soviet Union. Tell jokes, I got, now you can eat. Like that.
Yeah.
But the point that we're trying to make here, Shreyas, please tell us your story as well. I think you went, where was you?
I was at a show in Navi Mumbai last
And you didn't want to do it? You didn't want to do it?
I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to go to the show, and it was a punk rock show where they were doing cover songs only.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And the guy who owned the band, he was a pretty nice guy. He was like, hey, listen, you do 5 minutes. In the middle of the set, I was like, listen, I don't know. I'll just come. I listen to your music. I was like, no, this is exposure. People are dying for exposure. Why wouldn't you want? I was like, okay, all right.
The greats have all made their name as comedians doing sets between punk rock cover performances in Navi Mumbai.
Exactly. That's like a rite of passage. So, I went up on stage, and I went up after like one of their popular songs. So people were up, people were dancing.
Someone else's popular song.
With someone else's popular song.
But you don't know, that's, sorry to segue, but that's the other problem with Mumbai audiences. They only want the covers.
That's true,
you dare try original stuff. Now, poor Gary Law used to apologize. Yeah. You mind if I play an original song?
Wow.
No, shut the fucking up! Play the fucking music! Doors! So punk rock is the same, yeah.
So I went up on stage, and there was literally a dance train happening as I went up on stage. Like there were 15 people going around the room like with their hands on each other's shoulders. And I'm like, hey, so I recently moved to Bombay.
You should have gone to Govinda Halare. That was your point.
Should have started singing, yeah. And then I was supposed to do... just pity laughs. Like I had friends there. Like after a joke, there would just be absolute silence. So I had a friend come in who was like, ye acha tha, ha. Because I think they were feeling bad. And I did this one fictional joke about how I'm a cocaine addict.
Which you are now after this experience. The experience led you to drugs. Who can blame you?
And after the show, this uncle came up to me and was like, hey, listen, my friend is really looking for you. I was like, oh, why? He was like, no, he's waiting in the parking, go meet him. So I didn't go meet because shady uncle. No, he was like, he's really waiting for you.
He wants to sell you cocaine?
Gift me cocaine.
What do you think, it was good or bad?
He offered me cocaine, crystal meth, and MD. He was like, karte hai snort.
Wow.
And he was like some 55-year-old guy, and someone was like, he's the godfather of drugs in Navi Mumbai. He has brought all the drugs. I was like, okay, I think this is my cue. I'll go home and work on some new jokes.
So what you got out of this was you got to meet the biggest drug smuggler of Navi Mumbai. And he's now your friend.
He's now my friend.
And he calls you up and says, "Ek jokes now."
Yeah. And he was very offended when I left because he thought I was leaving because he was old. He was like, oh, is it because like I have white hair? No, I'm also young.
I also have white powder. Come on, don't judge, yaar. Anyway, so we just brought this all up because people think that comedians are, you do nothing, you wastrel, this and that. It's probably one of the hardest jobs.
Yeah.
And I would say the first 3 or 4 years are really bad.
Yeah.
And you've got to swallow ego. You've got to swallow intelligence sometimes. And you have to listen to people who know nothing about what you're doing, tell you what you're doing, which is, I think once you pass that test, it's just going to be easy.
Yeah.
It'll never be hard again. The worst audience, you just go back to your Navi Mumbai experience or your mall experience and you know everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, at least that's what Jerry Seinfeld told me.
Oh, he also did that Navi Mumbai gig, right? I already destroyed that.
He's driving his car everywhere. Okay, guys, let's move on to real subjects.
Let's do it.
Enough of our personal pain. What's on the anvil?
Sonia Gandhi has returned as the savior-in-chief for the Congress
So
party.
it's like a tennis match.
Yeah.
So you go Gandhi, no Gandhi, Gandhi, no Gandhi, Gandhi, and then return of serve. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen to that party now? I think they have a chance to let those young guys come through and rejuvenate the party, or if they're just going to play this Gandhi card left, right, and center. I think it's all over. We'll have to outsource parties now. I'm thinking of getting the right wing from Germany. Oh, we already have something. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just done. I'm just like it's the same headlines. Like the last time this happened when Sonia Gandhi formed the government after BJP was winning when she formed the UPA. It was the same headlines. Like Sonia Gandhi. Like I feel we are just caught in a loop where the same things keep happening again and again, and we just can't get out of that.
What it's worth, the young man, of course he's my age, the young Prince Rahul abdicated the throne. In a sense.
Yeah.
And he's stuck to that.
Yeah.
In a sense, he's not gone back.
Yeah.
But while they're looking for the leader, which no one has pointed out who that next leader is or even an option,
right.
It goes back, the ball is back in Sonia's court.
Right.
Which is basically going back to pre-Rahul.
Right.
So technically they've gone back instead of going forward. So the whole point is, what is the Congress doing?
What are they doing?
And I don't know. I mean, this is the opportunity after being hammered by the BJP in the last election. This is the chance to make a lot of changes.
Yeah.
That's good. In any corporate structure, in comedy, that's what would happen, right? After the punk rock experience, they've changed all the punk rockers for the next show. So,
no, I would love to see the video footage of the meeting that happens to a point there.
The internal one.
Does anyone even suggest that, hey, we have these new breed of leaders, why not give them a shot? Or is sycophancy so ingrained in the Congress?
So the video will show us visually.
Yeah, where people just keep quiet and then they just take it for granted.
So those aren't meetings, those are lectures.
Since no one's saying anything, I guess...
when Sonia enters the room, do they all get up, for example, and then it's game, set, match?
Too, of course
No, because then there's only one leader then. The whole idea is, it has to be like, okay, now we are a board of directors, we come together and say, guys, we failed this year, annual report shows we failed really badly, X, Y and Z who are in charge have to abdicate the throne because they have to take moral responsibility, and now let's vote for new people to run the company.
Yeah.
Right.
But that only happens. I
don't think you have a board where everybody's equal. Now, that's a big problem.
The board just has two names, Rahul and Sonia, and Rahul doesn't want to do
it. So refer to former name is not the only not going to work.
Refer to former Gandhi.
Yeah. And from left field, if Priyanka comes through, which obviously is not going to happen ever now, it looks like.
Right.
But I still think that the right way for them to go, and I've tried to advise this party, whenever I've had them at Navi Mumbai and punk rock shows, I've tried in between sets to talk to them, and I've said, you have to get Scindia, Pilot and Milind Devra together, and these three and a couple of others, and push them forward, and that's your best bet.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't learnt from the opposition. Like, the reason
he got rid of everyone.
Old guard of the BJP is completely gone.
LK Advani cannot get a comedy gig in India. He just said, over 70, checked his age, over 70 has to go, boom. I got 12 years, that's 2.5 elections, that's enough.
Right.
Yeah, so, and when you see people like Tharoor and all these people tweeting congratulations, I'm like, I know for a fact Tharoor does, I mean, considering he's the only sort of...
But I would
say balanced or sensible person.
He would play a very important role in. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I know he knows. I mean, considering he.
But he can't break the.
He can't voice
buck the trend. He can't. Yeah.
So to see that, to be like,
but that's
even if you hold.
But the failure stems from that whole the mafia-like status
that they have.
Exactly.
That's what
that has to be broken.
Yeah, that has to be broken.
And Shashi Tharoor also is one of those names that could come. The only problem is with all this, there's this one channel that's after him whose name I can't mention, but it's got something to do with the 26th of January.
Right.
And so they go after him all the time and make him sound like a villain and, a wife killer, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So he's got this thing on his head. But otherwise, he also would be a good sort of middle ground for them.
No, even within his party, remember the cow...
the cattle
cast comment that he made.
And we can't say anything.
He was called out for that. His spokesmanship was taken for him. Yeah. So it's like even the more forward-thinking leaders who want a change, they can't voice it.
Yes,
because
we do have the odd forward-thinking leader in India. Abbas is not wrong. He's not completely mad. There are one or two here and there. गिर गया एक दो.
So yeah, sad situation. Like, we want a strong opposition, whether you like it or not, and this doesn't.
It's wrong, whether you like it or not. It's democracy. You need opposition. Or it's not democracy.
And this doesn't seem to be pushing us in that direction.
And I just feel this is the right time. This is like the time where India needs a rebound after like a bad break.
Yeah, they've got nothing to hide because they've lost so badly.
Explain from any industry or cricket if you want, from any perspective. If you lose really badly in the World Cup, any World Cup, football, cricket, whatever, even table tennis, which you follow, shares, completely there's a sea change of people.
Right.
Coaches lose their jobs. Captains lose their jobs, senior guys have to retire, except in India. Everywhere, there's a sea change of personnel. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
So I'm saying just look at it clinically. It's a political party. It's also a business. Right. India is a business. The world is a business.
Right.
So your business has failed. And it's failed twice in a row. And this time it was a debacle. It was really bad.
Yeah.
So you have to have accountability. If you don't have accountability, so what's your point then? It failed because of what? Because the astrologer didn't get it right? Because atmospheric conditions were not good for outswing bowling, hence we lost the election? What? So I don't understand. Anywhere else, you look at targets, banking, blah, blah, anything. Everyone has targets. Even in our world, if we don't get ratings, if we don't get people, they drop our shows, they drop everything.
Right.
So everybody has to face the flag. So why do they not understand that they failed? Hence there has to be a turnover.
Yeah.
I just think be clinical about these things. You can't just go on with this mafia attitude.
Yeah.
So I think we should run the country, 3 of us.
I have doubt.
And our state will not allow punk rockers of any kind. I promise you, Navi Mumbai will be closed on the uncle. I will personally catch him and pull his ear. Because my penalties are not very strong for narcotics.
All right.
Topic 2.
Yeah, topic 2 is the Haryana CM, Mohanlal Khattar, faced some flack because during one of his speeches, he referred to getting Kashmiri women to balance the sex ratio. So I'll give you the the balanced version of it.
Yeah.
The news channels ran with this headline that said Manohar Khattar says that get girls from Kashmir. In the
Don't say Manohar because you're confusing my guest, who does not want anything to do with the Haryanvi chief minister.
Yeah. So when the whole clip was released, he was actually talking about the skewed sex ratio in Haryana.
Yeah. Gender ratio.
Yeah. He said it has improved, but he said it has to be improved more. His context was earlier people used to say we'll get women from Bihar. Now since 370 is gone, now the latest WhatsApp joke that has been going around is we should get girls from Kashmir. So he said it in a quote-unquote
he was trying to be a comedian. Let the comedian judge. Yes, you judge. You give the judgment here. It's about time the comedians judge.
I think it's, even if it is a joke,
right,
what it reflects is the ruling
inherent
party's
sexism.
Attitude towards Kashmir.
And women in general.
And women in general, yeah. It's probably an occupation. They
Although
don't
you would have said
consider
the same
Kashmiri
thing,
people. This?
I'm just asking.
No, I wouldn't have.
So you're anti-Kashmiri women?
No, I'm pro-Kashmir statehood.
We are pro-Kashmiri women's consent. If they want to come, they can.
The only correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is I am pro-women.
Pro-women.
You say anything else,
Sorry.
you will be shot. Remember that.
Okay. There's a getting shot in
another
Kashmir
pause.
joke in there.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the pro-women argument is what these centrists have been using to justify Kashmir also, right? That, it's for human rights. It's because women there are mistreated. That's what they say. But you can't take that decision without anyone's consultation in the state. So I think that...
So you're saying referendum?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, if we come back to that point, let's go back to Mr. Khattar's point, which was slightly... Now see, as a comedian, there's always times when people say, you said the wrong thing, you crossed the line, yes, insensitive remark tha and all that. But I think comedy, once you're doing comedy, everything's fair game in a sense.
But I think as a chief minister, the dynamics change, right?
So you're saying a chief minister should not be a stand-up comedian?
Never.
So you would never vote for...
There's a place and time for the joke. This wasn't it.
So if Rajesh Srivastava was the CM and he said it at a function where he's doing his official work, it would be wrong. But if he was doing an event where he's a comedian, it would be fine.
No, even then it would be risky. Because the place and time...
Because he's wearing 2 hats. In my convoluted argument. Please.
What is it trying to say?
Let's get to the point. So yes or no? Wrong thing to say?
Wrong thing to say, I think.
No question of please have a sense of humor.
No.
I watched this comedians in car thing with Ricky Gervais, who's my favorite comedian, and Seinfeld, who's also one of my favorite comedians. And they did this whole joke about, they were just talking about something, and they said, two people look the same in New York. So then they asked each other, but where do you think people look the same? And one of them said China. That obvious, sort of stereotyping racist sort of remark. They went on about it, and but whether you should say it or not say it, but you thought it, so should you have said it? So here's my question. We all have these racist thoughts in our head. We all have these prejudicial thoughts in our head. Right. We all have sexist thoughts. We are 3 men. You're 4 men if you count a young engineer on the right. It's possible the mics were off. We would make some sexist comments sooner or later. Who are we kidding? If some hot chick enters the room, we would not.
If you make it in your house or amongst your friends.
But that's a geography, man. What the hell is
I'm not promoting that either. Like, that will be a little hypocritical.
So you won't do it in front of your mother. But I'm saying anything else. If 5 guys are together, 10 guys are...
It comes back to that whole locker room talk, that Trump got into trouble.
Like a pack of dogs. It happens.
Yeah. But I don't think the way forward is just giving in to this natural primal instinct that we have been conditioned to believe.
You're too pure, baby. You're too pure. Navi Mumbai has changed you. You said no to cocaine, and from then on, you're just ascending into heaven. Straight away. Tuck. Next step.
See, that's the thing, right? Unless men talk to other men about how to not mistreat women, that inherent patriarchy.
I meet men every morning. I'm surrounded by men.
Right.
Men always say the wrong things, but when we get to a certain place, we're suddenly all correct. Our daughter's in the room, our mother's in the room, women are in the room. We've got a mic in front of us, and suddenly we say all correct things.
So
but the truth of the matter, I'm not that different from this Qatar fellow, because I may have said something which I thought was funny for the lads kind of thing, and then 5 minutes later it's wrong because the microphone is on or whatever. अब बोलो ना जवाब क्या है?
नहीं मैं दे रहा हूँ ना जवाब. I'm saying so that has to change. You have to have that conversation.
But I also think when you say that, you are saying that in a room or on a mic. When he says that he's a chief minister, that has ramifications. That sends the message.
His position is just too high. He can't afford to mess around.
And
no one told Donald Trump, of course, but that doesn't matter.
His party has right now imposed such stringent bans and complete shutdown of a state, right? And for you to joke about it on the mic in front of people, it's a little insensitive. I
won't take a side, but I think he was trying to talk more about the women issue.
That's right. It was a throwaway line.
Let's not explain this. Right. But it was not more. It was not really about Kashmir.
Got it. It was a throwaway.
So that's your take. That Qatar is a feminist.
I'm saying let's punish him for the right crime. Okay, this is not Kashmir bashing in that sense as much as it is woman, sexism or whatever the right word is, which we men rampantly practice is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
No, I think it's
except
both.
You, me and Abbas.
It's regionalism and sexism in one.
It's layered, but I'd say top of the line is
layered is not.
Okay, let him resign. Why am I fighting for him, for God's sake? I don't even know this guy. I haven't been in Faridabad in the last 6 months. Chalo, ho gaya.
Yeah, let's take a break.
I just want to say one last thing on this subject. I believe that, it's not possible. Political correctness has come to such a point here. We watched the Stephen Fry documentary. It explains everything. We just can't go on like this here.
No, I think
how do we keep everybody happy?
We're confusing two things. You're talking about the right of a comedian to make a joke. We're talking about a person in authority
I agree
talking down.
Okay. Let's not get into I get what you're saying. I'm saying, let's not get into those areas of when and where you're allowed, because that also becomes ridiculous after a point. I'm only saying is that now we are all editing ourselves all the time. We're always worried. Now
Which is not always bad.
We're also worried. It's not always bad, but we're also worried when there's a girl in the room. We're also worried about how far, where before we would just talk openly with colleagues and all.
Right.
All that is also happening.
Yeah.
So I'm just a little worried that we've taken political correctness to another.
I would like to hear what Shreyas has to say about that.
I think if there is someone in the room and you are not saying something to be politically correct, that's probably good, because you're forcing yourself to be respectful of someone which you normally wouldn't have. So I think it's pushing you to be a better person. I think it's just a matter of time till this becomes the convention and that becomes the way that we think in. So I think because this is a period of transition, it always is, the way we think about women, the way men think about women, and now that we are having such a reckoning, I think this is a transitory period, but I think we have to be strong. We have to push ourselves to be better, and that's the only way forward.
You took me back to Miss India again. The answers just crippled me completely. I'm thinking, why did you take that cocaine? Just liven up everything, bro. I don't want to do all the wrong steps. If comedy is your thing, you're going towards punk rock. Can you play guitar? Yeah, okay, let's leave this because it's a very touchy topic. Yeah. And we've had lots of people coming on during the Me Too thing, which by the way is dead, the movement. It cannot be revived because Alok Nath is off the hook.
Everybody who was called out has been...
Almost everyone has won the case. MJ Akbar is back in parliament, so this whole Me Too thing is just
guy, what's his name? He made a movie, the Phantom guy. Who made Super 30.
Bel Puri. But they made his name a little smaller.
Nana Patekar's career is also, I think, going to get back on track. So,
Nana Patekar's career wasn't exactly booming just before that, so that's okay. I don't think you can really add that up. But I'm just saying, for my friend Kunal, he can go back on the streets again now.
He was never called out, Cyrus.
There's so many stories, you have no idea. Just because older women in their 70s don't complain doesn't mean it didn't happen. We'll take a break, we'll come back.
India's a massive subcontinent home to truly stunning diversity. Behind the veils of smoke that obscure our thriving cities, our history is still alive, glimmering like sequins, waiting to be discovered. And if you, like me, are straining to hear the echoes of our past, this podcast is for you. I'm Anirudh Kanisetti, a history and geopolitics researcher, and I host Echoes of India, a history podcast about India, by Indians, and for Indians. In Echoes, we journey through the complex histories of South Asia and what they can teach us about our globalized world. Tune in every Wednesday on ivmpodcast.com or your favorite podcast app.
All right, welcome back, and we are going back into our topic offline, which we shouldn't do, but I think Shreyas wants to make more points, so I will let him, if I may. But also, you have a lovely show going on, which is called
How to Citizen.
How to Citizen. Just
Yes.
quickly, 30 seconds. The show is about
The show is
Civic Consciousness.
Civic Consciousness. It's at the intersection of civic consciousness and comedy, where all these
which is the
civic
same thing in
issues-
India.
It's exactly the same.
Zebra crossing. Literally, people think, oh, zebra nahi hai, to usko crossing kyun lagaya idhar? Yeah.
Civics is just like more like dark humor. I think that's what it is. in
I'll
India.
quickly add, I have two friends in the town, two boys, Parsi boys, nutcases. What they do at the zebra crossing is they jump over the cars. The cars come onto the white, so they jump onto the front of the car. It's great to see the reactions. Because technically you're supposed to stop. Anywhere in the world, boss, you go to London and you try and move a car across a zebra crossing. You'll never drive again. Only in India, we've not understood. We've just not understood. Yes, sign ka matlab kya hai, one way, two way. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Civic consciousness is the
radical
best
stuff.
subject.
Yeah.
I think in India.
I think our first episode is going to be on zebra crossing. I'm very
Please
inspired
do
by
it.
this.
Please do it. And you ever do this on a visual medium, na? Please take pictures
Yeah,
of
yeah.
how cars just park in front and behind this, that and the other.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
And yes, there is no zebra at a zebra crossing.
So quickly, the premise of How to Citizen is we get a comedian or a politician or an RJ.
I like how you put those two professions together after the Haryana Chief Minister's gaffe. Oh.
And we basically assign them a civics chapter from the 8th grade. That was the premise of the first season.
Fair enough.
And then they read the chapter, and then as if it's a viva before a test, we just discuss the chapter, discuss what happens, and just discuss the topics.
His co-host is Meghnad, who's
yes.
a
He's a
who
public
also been
policy
on the
expert.
show.
And
Public
is
policy,
actual expert on the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, so is Shreyas. I mean, what do you mean?
No, I don't consider
He's a
myself an
comedian.
expert.
Shreyas the comedic relief. Meghnad is the comedic aspect
Narcotics
plus the
expert.
expert.
Where he meets in
Yeah,
public parks.
all 10 episodes are now on the IVM podcast app, so check it out. Season 2 will be coming
And has
soon.
it helped India? No.
No.
It's still
It
running
has
through.
actually, we've got a lot of feedback about people actually taking away points from it that they didn't know about. So yeah.
Oh, make me the Chief Minister of Maharashtra for one day. I will have guns out only for civic consciousness. We have to raise everything. There's 23,000 rupees for double parking when the cop's car is parked. It's amazing how the cop himself doesn't wear a helmet and he wants to stop you and ask for whether you're wearing a helmet.
That's true.
What would you do if you had complete, full authoritarian power? What would you do to solve
Oh
the
my God.
parking
See,
case,
my-
the parking
You have-
problem?
You have
I have two
sparked off
problems.
something.
I have two issues here. First, the rich of Mumbai are choots. Okay, we
Right.
can't lie anymore.
Right.
They've just lost all understanding of what it is to be part of a fabric of a society together, communal sort of thing. So think about others, That's one. To the pedestrian is a terrorist. He's now a terrorist. He should be classified as terrorist. Because his point is, मैं चल के जाएगा, मैं पीठ दिखाएगा, and then it's your pop's problem. You want to kill me, you kill me. Fuck you, my life sucks anyway. So, what are you going to do? So someone has to do something here. I'm dealing with these two extremes of Shutyagiri, which I can't take anymore here. I mean, nobody cares about anybody else. My great friend Kunal Vijayakar is saying, I'll double park the car because nobody else cares. We should also do what everybody else is doing. So people start thinking like this.
Right.
And you can't blame them after some time. They're saying, nobody cares, so why do we care? Nobody opens the door, old lady is passing, nobody tries to help them cross either the road or into a gate, or nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
So this caring, I think we have to kill a few people. There is no other option.
I think the country is doing that already. I think.
But they are killing people on basis of caste, class, community, and all this rubbish.
want parking.
I'm killing them on civic consciousness. It's the only noble reason to kill someone. You have to ask them only one question in India, just one question. Look me in the eye, bolo, sir, aap chutiya hai ya nahi? And if he says, haan, main chutiya hu, then you shoot him. That's it. He has to pass what is called the chutiya test. Am I allowed to say these words now? It's too late.
Well, yeah, I already said them.
Yeah. But I hope people understand that there's no other way to express it. Because why don't you understand zebra crossing? The zebra crossing is not difficult here. How come the bikes just go through the red light? Because they haven't figured out how to zoom on them with the cameras. So they get away. They don't care. I asked them, nahi pakad sakte. That's the reason. I give up. Green card? You have a green card?
No,
No, you don't go there.
But
Let Democrats win. Huh?
he has been educated in the US.
You're educated in the US?
Yeah, I was in New York for 4 years at Columbia studying.
At Columbia?
Yeah.
And then what happened? Student loan?
Yeah, I took a loan plus some scholarships. I came back for a couple of years, but I think I'm going back for my master's next year.
Oh, superb. Great choice. Yeah, excellent. Go to Canada. It's a little safer.
Canada? No, I think I'm obsessed with New York. Like, I just can't.
Yeah, New York is a separate country on its own.
Exactly.
So, actually, a lot about New York to be admired. Now that you want to talk about New York, I spent 4 months there also.
Okay.
It's a real leveling ground. you see famous people. I saw Denzel Washington on the street walking about 10 feet away from me. A, nobody bothers him. B, everybody's rude to everybody, and that's a nice way.
Exactly.
It's not a rude which is personal. They're just in a hurry.
Right.
The first day I went there, I never forgot, the lady asked me about the hamburger. I was so excited. McDonald's burger. Mere liye to, it was like some religious site I've come to. McDonald's burger, 1994, New York. I was praying and all that. I go inside. I can't pick up the accent. You're anyway scared to talk back to them. And then you say whatever, can I have this, that? And she says, to go. And she's like that voice. And I was like, what? No. Indian personality crumbled completely. I said, what you said, madam? So I said, she was saying Tagore or something, like you're Indian and making some racist comment. No, it was to go. To go means to pack and take. So somebody explained the line. I had no idea.
That must have been terrifying. You were there for your
first 4 or 5 days was terrifying because everybody's in, there's nobody, it's all fake, the hellos. Right. Good morning. It's not like they really care,
Right.
But it's good, leveling ground.
Yeah, that's true.
Good stuff. Why are you saying that's true? You haven't been out of Baikala in the last 10 years.
The only other place out of India I've gone is Malaysia and Singapore.
Lovely.
Yeah.
There's food I can mention, but it's banned by the government here in India. But, oh, lovely. Rendang, by the way. Rendang.
Rendang, okay.
But the meat I can't mention because I don't know if penguin is allowed. Sorry.
You know who wasn't allowed to go out of India? Prannoy Roy and his wife.
Hey, what a story that is, mate.
Yeah, so they were held up at the airport for...
No flight risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because apparently about some...
ICICI loan which has been filed by the CBI.
Which comes under the government, right?
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
But like the state thinks that these people are what? Anti-nationals and should be sent out of
very
the
dangerous.
Country, right?
Prannoy Roy. Boss, don't associate with him. Very dangerous.
But then let them go out now. Why are you keeping them in?
That's what I'm saying. Anti-national, they keep telling us to go to this particular
Are they anti-national
country.
or just it's a question of owing the so-called banks money?
Owing the banks money, it's a case
not
of...
quite anti-national. That's now a little...
Anti-said party, so...
anti-nationalist.
You can't name the party, what? Or is that like
what party
we
is
can't
this?
name the
What
party
party you're talking about?
I don't know which party.
Like, for example, if you
party
want,
last night,
if you wanted to say BJP, you can't say BJP.
BJP. I would never say.
For an example.
For an example, yeah, as an example.
But you can say NCP, huh? There's no
NCP
worry.
is fine.
Sharad Pawar has gone under the radar. Nobody knows what's going on.
So the Roys say that the said loan that they have been embroiled
crores,
in has been paid off, but the CBI says it hasn't, because of which there wasn't. So what I found interesting was they actually ran this, the statement from the Roys ran on NDTV all day, the day they were halted to fly.
But is it paid off or not?
They say it is, but according to the CBI, it isn't. So there is a lack of...
Is this only in India where one person can say I paid the loan and the other person can say I haven't paid the loan and nobody knows what the answer is? I mean, then we are really third world again.
There must be...
मेरा बिस्तर के नीचे रखा पैसा मगर पता नहीं है दिया या नहीं दिया. I'll get back to you.
The report says the media house claimed that both of them have been cooperating with the case and have travelled abroad as and when required. They were to return on August 15. The authorities did not inform the court whether the matter is sub judice.
Now that proves it. August 15 return means patriot. You will not miss your Independence Day. Whatever happened, मैं Independence Day के लिए वापस आ गया मैं. And the moment I do that, I have proven myself in blood as far as I am concerned. If they came on 16th, which is Elvis's death anniversary, then I understand.
Right.
Because that's a different deal. Then you're putting Elvis before the country.
Yeah.
Which only a few Parsis do. But, we are allowed. What do you say, Abbas? You've gone silent in pain. Are you pro-bank? Is it a bank issue? Do you bank with ICICI?
I do have an ICICI
account. I knew it. Exposed.
I don't know. Do you think that it's happening because they are
we all know what's happening here. Do we really need to discuss this? We all know exactly why they were stopped. We all know why they're being attacked. Unfortunately, it's not just India. It happens in America. It happens in many countries around the world. You fall foul of the government, and then you're on their list, and they're just using whatever structure they have at their power to institutionalize gangsterism is one word that the Americans use. And believe me, this is not just during Donald Trump's time. And America is famous for it.
Yeah.
All the way down, how they can persecute people, big businesses, for example. Now comedians.
Since you have brought up Donald Trump, have you been keeping up with the Jeffrey Epstein case?
Very sad. But sad in the sense that he died, but if he's a molester of young girls and all. I don't know. But he was on suicide watch. Then he was taken off suicide watch. And he had attempted suicide.
What does that entail, being on suicide watch?
So when a prisoner, they have a psychiatric evaluation and they feel the guy can kill himself or try to kill himself.
Right. He tried to kill himself once
He did once. And with the marks around the neck and everything that happened with the rope that he got. However he got, we don't know. But he attempted it. And apparently if you attempt suicide, most people who actually kill themselves have attempted it many times before.
Right.
The statistics is some mind-boggling 90% plus or something like that for that. So, but whatever. But, I mean, then
so there's more surveillance.
So they have CC cameras and people are watching you. You're not left alone.
Right.
But he did it.
But he was taken off suicide watch. I didn't know.
So he was taken off suicide watch when he did it.
Okay.
But he was on for a long period of time and then he was off.
But do you think there's some foul play here?
No,
Because
there's
the
no
guy
foul play.
the guy
There's
was
no
close
foul
to
play.
Trump. The guy was close to the
No,
Clinton.
there's no foul play.
His hearing was about to come up. So there was
he's been accused of molesting 13 and 14-year-old girls, minors. Okay, his world is over. He's one of the most powerful men in America.
But the thing was that he ran a ring and he could have named more influential people who were involved in this ring, and that's why he was taken out.
No. I think that's just conspiracy theory which is now going beyond.
Which has been retweeted by Donald Trump, this conspiracy theory that the Clintons took him out. And the last person to see him before he died was Bill Clinton in disguise.
There you go. Bill Clinton. I suppose Americans having killed so many people around the world, watch one more American in a jail cell, rich or not. Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think it's just world crumbled.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. It's like a chess game where you're checkmate. You're in jail. And if it was embezzlement, white collar crime and all these are all things your friends and family can stand by. The one thing they can't is like molestation of minors. That's the one thing, if you think about it. Terrorism and molestation of minors, there's just one thing, everybody has to leave you alone. Your life is over.
Right.
No one have associations with you of any kind.
Right.
Your name comes off all the boards you're on. The name comes off
That's
all the, donated to all these places, NGOs, blah, blah, all off. You're nothing.
I think just two things about this is, one, I think it's unfair to the victims that they are not going to get the justice required because everyone who's in the ring won't
justice, he took his life.
But what if he was given the death penalty anyway?
He wouldn't have got the death penalty.
But the justice would have come from like a proper investigation where they would have caught everyone involved in it, right? I think now they've lost their main witness.
Right.
So
they can still catch everyone. They just don't have his voice. Investigations continue. There's digital footprint everywhere.
Right. So they can't.
It's impossible. Of course. As an investigative officer myself, I remember when the Guptas had a robbery in the building. I was the one who said that they only did it. I was the one. Nobody had the guts to say, andar ki baat hai, andar. When you say inside job can be done by yourself also. Inside job doesn't mean someone who knows you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me tell you, I can help you with small petty crime.
But I also think what this should start a discussion about is how incarceration is just a killing machine.
Yeah, okay, but what about the fact that how does he get tools to kill himself? Where does he get the rope or the
How
tie?
did he kill himself?
With some sort of cloth around his neck, but you're holding a 200-pound man.
I'm sure they have towels and bed sheets and stuff.
But how does he get that into this suicide watch?
No, but you're thinking he was taken off.
He was taken off suicide watch, but they'll still be watching him now. It's not like, okay, now you won't kill yourself for sure.
That is the whole question mark over this death. How did it happen? How did he get
And he made a huge mistake. He didn't ask for the last meal before killing himself. Because in America, they allow you a great last meal.
And even in India, right?
In India, I don't know because India's Kutsi doesn't go everywhere.
Right.
Suppose you're in Yerwada, in Pune. Okay, you want your butter chicken from, say, Jalandhar. You may not get the delivery you want before the thing. So you've got to be very careful. So I always say the last meal is a very big one for whoever.
What would be yours?
It's damn tough. I'd like to think about it. Right? But firstly, can I take banned food that the government is not allowed to eat? Is that allowed or not?
Okay, cool. You want to move on or
ponder over this best subject? What could be your last meal? In fact, let's get emails. Let's ask everybody who follows our show. Please send in what would be your last meal. Proper details. You can't say anything in mutton. It has to be proper, It's got like every last detail should be there. Oops.
Yeah,
very tough one. Do you go back to home food?
That's
you
true.
Go back to one of the best food, or if you have a lot of money, the cuisines you like, say Lebanese, Greek, Jobi. Do you go for your butter chicken biryani type of tried and tested? You go for veg? I don't know. Veg, I would go. I'm dying anyway. Well, I don't want to die twice. All right, what's the next topic?
The last two. So Zomato employees in West Bengal.
Nice segue.
Great segue.
What a mind.
Amazing segue.
You make a great anchor because you have that ability. You should do radio. Radio is all about linking.
Zomato employees in West Bengal are on a strike. The delivery boys.
One sec. When you say West Bengal and strike, what's new?
I know.
Don't throw Zomato. That's just incidental.
But they are on strike because the delivery boys say they've been forced to, quote unquote, forced to deliver pork and beef. And they've been requesting Zomato not to, like the Muslim delivery boys.
So now we are going back to the mutiny.
1857, yes.
1857, Zindabad. After 250, 300 years, we've gone nowhere. Still fighting. Oh, main haath nahi lagayega.
My only question is like there is no prohibition on holding or delivering pork or beef. Like I know, but this is because someone in our office ordered a pork dish from somewhere here in Bandra, and the delivery boy was a Muslim, so he actually called the person saying, "Sir, aap niche aake delivery le lo." So what he did essentially,
holding the pork, he's holding the dish.
Yeah, so that's what he opened the container in the restaurant for someone to come put it in this thing. He wanted.
Why did he send him? He should send somebody else.
That's the whole point. Now they're saying do not match a Muslim delivery boy to pork dishes. Do not match Hindu delivery boys.
You're going to New York, right? Take all this to New York with you. Huh? Let them suffer. It's about time they have our problems. You see, the secularism really bizarre, now, with all the greatness of secularism, and it's, they have to draw the line somewhere. Business is business. My thing is business comes first.
Yeah.
Just do your business. And this is not really the customer's issue at all. This is an issue between Zomato and his employee.
Yeah.
They have to figure this out.
Right.
If people are very orthodox in whatever religion, Hindu don't want to touch beef, Muslim don't want to... by the way, Baman and Kunal, my two friends, Baman, the famous actor, they had a fight outside Ling's once over giving the beggar. Okay, it was a Hindu beggar, and there was beef, and that time beef was allowed.
Right.
Beef and fried rice. And Baman was saying, let it go. The haram is mine, not his. He doesn't know.
Right.
It's Chinese sauces and all that, and he's hungry, so let him go. And Kunal said, no. I will not give pork to a Muslim beggar, and I will not give beef to a Hindu beggar.
Right.
And because that's the way it should be.
Right.
And they had a big argument over this. So can you imagine what kind of world we're giving our children, man?
And the beggar was just watching.
If you didn't tell him and quietly gave it to him, as Momin said, was his, the haram comes to him. Right? It's his karma.
That's
he's
so nice of him.
No, it's
I think it's fair. I'll take that. I'll take that bad thing. He's hungry. Let him go. I mean, you're a beggar. What happened to beggars can't be choosers? Yaar, dharam pehla. But you have not eaten 3 weeks. You'll die in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Nahin, beef nahi khayega. Nahin. Aur kuch samosa, Punjabi samosa. No, Punjabi samosa. You got this. You're taking, not taking. Last option. The fuck, man? Something wrong with this country, boss. What are we going to do?
There is no sin.
Is there a doctor for countries? Like a doctor can treat the country. Country comes, step forward, 1 injection. Pen nikalo.
I don't know. I think there is no sin in holding the dish in your hands or something. Like, you go to bars, you don't drink.
See, this is not even about Muslim, Hindu or anything. This is about how orthodox you are in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I can't control the person. That's the individual person is like that. So that there's no limit to it. So the proprietor has to make a decision.
Right.
Oh, this is what I will do, and you tell me what you're willing to do, and then we have to decide.
Right.
Do you think this is just a reaction to what happened with Zomato?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
But then why just in West Bengal? Like what's so...
See, now 1.2 billion country, if this one stray incident happened, it's not the worst thing then. West Bengal is just looking for a reason not to work. Suddenly he thought of it, I'm Muslim.
No, I won't put it, it's not...
The lift must have been closed. He didn't want to walk up 4 floors. We have to investigate this.
I don't put it past that someone has, just to sort of affect their business, someone has started this whole thing to... Like Zomato took a stand last week. We spoke
Swiggy
about
behind this, you think?
Swiggy or Uber Eats.
Okay. Now you want to stretch this point? I'll just ask you as a businessman.
Yeah.
All 3 of us are the businessmen who own this franchise is ours. Okay.
Right.
When the guys, whoever, say, we are sending the food to whoever, Mr. Sharma, Mr. Sharma has asked for this pork dish. And I know that, let's say, my boy who's working there, let's call him Tanveer. Tanveer is orthodox. I know that. Why will I give it to him, the pork dish? There'll be other guys. I'll delay it by 10 minutes. Now, otherwise, I'll take that blame or give him the food free. Why go through all this when I know the guy is orthodox and has a trouble holding a pork dish?
Right.
I'm just from a business point of view.
So you're saying
morality.
Tanveer shouldn't be given the pork dish.
I'm saying,
but then
I'm
the
saying
whole
he's got
thing,
10 guys working for him.
Last month when the Hindu customer requested that the delivery boy should not be a Muslim because it's the month of Shravan and I can't take food from a non-Hindu person or a non-vegetarian, then Zomato should apply that same logic there as well.
Well, he would have done it if he could have gotten away from this whole issue. But once you tell him openly, then obviously he can't do it. You know what I'm saying? From a business point of view, I want my business not to suffer. So I'll use my head and say, okay, these guys will give me trouble. Ye karo, wo karo. And he'll get it done. So
you're saying it's about
they would have
PR.
avoided the controversy both times if they could.
Okay, so then why did they not? Why did they take a public stand?
It's like racism. Now you come on. Now you can't endorse it when somebody says that he's non-veg and he touched my thing or whatever.
So in this case, what should they do? Should they sort out saying, okay, from now on we'll make sure that the Muslim person doesn't get pork.
I think just ask your parents to cook for you like the old days. Forget this. This is not working. Delivery in India doesn't work. Just accept it now. It's ho gaya. We can't do it. Half the time we're returning the dish because you don't like the guy. Khana, badhiya hai. Khana sir, I can't tell you it is the best mutton do pyaza. But that guy Rakesh. कौन है यार चूतिया? कहाँ से आ गया Rakesh? Have you seen him?
The jugaad that goes on where it's like आपने इसके साथ ये चटनी नहीं दिया मुझे refund चाहिए and they have to refund the person because
is it on chutney?
Yeah.
Wow. I must write this down.
Let's order something.
There's someone in our office, I wouldn't like to take the name. He looks for these things like when someone comes, leakage tha, spillage tha. Takes a picture, sends it to them and they have to refund him. Wow. And they're like 5 minutes late deliver किया आपका tape निकला हुआ था जब आप
Who's this?
I'll tell you how off air.
Wait, so they eat the food and then they refund?
Yeah.
That's messy.
So you eat the food and you
very
get
mean
the
because they'll take it out on the employee, no?
Yeah.
End of the day.
No, so this said person has worked as a delivery boy. And so he knows the ins and outs. So he makes sure that the delivery boy not
has to be
not Shravan. One of the producers, I won't say who, I'll tell you off air. Our sound engineer has understood. Anyway, let's move on to the last topic.
Let's do the AMAs.
Last one before AMA. RK Studios, legendary RK Studios was raised down this week.
Actually went down?
Sad. Now there's going to be a multi-story tower.
I don't know when that Shishi Bell episode will come out. But one of my legendary stories, which I've done a lot of stand-up, is my meeting with the Kapoors for the first time.
Which episode?
Shishti. We did that Shishti Bell.
The Shishti episode, yeah. It's going to come
Netflix,
up soon.
Yeah. So, for me, I love the Kapoors. I just think, I wish Indian film families were all like them. Larger than life, great fun, hilarious, and hard-drinking, hard-eating, like the old stars.
Right.
But in the West also. Not today, I just find them too manicured. Don't you feel a little too manicured?
Yeah.
Nutritional nutritionist, dietitian, gym jata 2 ghanta, all that, and they balanced meals in tiffin are brought and kept in front. They all say the right thing. They never say wrong things. They're all politically correct. If you look at this generation, it's too boring. It's too bloody boring like robots. No, Rishi Kapoor. Anything will come out of his mouth. He's hilarious. I think we've lost one big for us. I'm the link generation between those who grew up watching the Amitabh Bachchan generation, Rishi Kapoor, Shashi Kapoor, all that, and this generation, which is all the way down to what are the actors' names today? Ranveer Singh. Ranveer is a little older. Ranveer Singh and
what's the Uri guy?
Uri guy,
who won a
national award winning winner for Uri.
Vivek Kaushal and Vicky Kaushal.
And the director was given best director also.
Vicky Kaushal and the guy from Roadies. I still think Ayushmann. I still think of him as the guy from
Roadies.
Wait, as someone who does not really know about RK Studio, can you give me some context, some significance?
So back in the day, it was a huge studio. So lots of films were shot there. Raj Kapoor and his father, blah, blah, blah. So it's got all that. It's all got all that to it. But also when we were doing reality shows, I've done 2 in RK Studio.
Oh, wow.
Because they started giving it out and all that. And I've seen the legendary Ranbir Kapoor at 9 o'clock with his black label in his hand, walking around, And I don't smoke, but I was standing outside the trailer, and I think with this singer, I won't name him because he's no more. And we were standing there, and he comes and says, "Kuch loge?" And just the bottle, No one didn't bother to get us glasses only. Took one sip, went back for the shot. So it was,
and you thought your punk rock story was...
Yes, it was good, cool, and they're really funny. If you ever spend any time with that family or any family members, they're really funny. They're genuinely funny guys. Making fun of each other all the time, arguing, shouting, screaming. Like a real hardcore, loud, talented Punjabi family. So it's just, that's gone now. It's like that era goes with it.
Right.
And now you have all these perfect guys.
Right.
Why do you think we don't convert all these places into museums or
Yeah, Godrej has taken over it.
Godrej has taken, so
you're going to have Nature's Basket.
Yeah, we're going to have Nature's Basket there. the area of...
but then I can't buy salami and beef sausages and all that because the delivery boy won't give it to me. And मैं touch नहीं करता sir. आप खुद sausage पकड़ के दिखाओ. All right, time for AMAs after this interesting discussion with 2 comedians.
Yes.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I have been asking you guys to do this. I think some of you are, but some of you aren't. Have you told your best friend about your favorite podcast? Please make sure you do that as well. You are our ambassadors. If you don't go out and evangelize on our behalf, who's going to do it? So please go out and tell somebody about the podcast you're listening to. If you think there's somebody who would enjoy it, refer them to IVM Podcast and tell them about all the stuff that they can find on our app or on our website or, Spotify, Savan, everywhere you're listening to podcasts, right? Just give it a shot. Also, guys, I'm going to be at Podcast Movement the coming week from the 13th to 16th of August. Podcast Movement is a conference in Orlando where we're going to be doing all kinds of podcasty stuff. So check it out. If you're in the area, please do come by and say hi. If you're not in the area, you can follow along with me by following, my social media in this case is Doshi Amit on most things. On the Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma is joined by Pratik Sinha, co-founder of Alt News. They speak about living in the era of fake news, the far-reaching consequences of fake news, and the best way to debunk fake news. The English Premier League has begun and Football Twaddle is back with a new season. This season, they're introducing a Fantasy League episode which airs every Thursday along with regular episodes on Tuesday. Make sure you tune into both of them. On the last episode of this season of the Sponge Podcast, host Ambi Parmeshwaran talks about learning lessons from simple people and shares the story of Gooseby. On Tech Careers in the New, presented by Accenture, Sheila Aditya is joined by Gopali Contractor, Managing Director, Artificial Intelligence at Accenture. They talk about AI, ways to demystify it, its practical applications, and the career opportunities in this field. Check it out. I think you'll like this show. On Pulyabazi, the Hindi policy podcast, hosts Saurabh and Pranay talk to Mihir Mahajan, a patent strategy expert, about intellectual property rights. On The Origin of Things, Chuck narrates a brand origin story that involves priests, traders, and education. Will you be able to guess the brand before Chuck reveals it? Find out by tuning in. On The Habit Coach, Ashton is joined by nutrition and lifestyle coach Rashi Malhotra. They talk about food substitutes and recipes for a healthy life. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
It's time for Ask Me Anything, which is, I'm told, very popular, not ours, but around the world.
People ours also very popular.
Ask me anything.
Yes.
What are you saying?
How many questions do you get?
Million.
More than
10 million.
More than 30 every week.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
30?
Yeah.
30.
For a podcast,
I said 1 million. और कहाँ पे गिर गया? 30.
For a
10
podcast,
plus 10 plus 10, 30. For a podcast, that's great. I get 30 questions from my watchman when I end up eating. अबे कहाँ से? किसको मिलना है? कहाँ जाना है? Trouser क्यों नहीं पहना है? तेरी माँ की, the questions
Yeah,
are
half of them he only sends to us.
30 questions he's saying with the greatest.
30
So like RK Studios, we have to go down as well, it looks like. हाँ बोलो क्या है?
30 on email. We get more on like Twitter, Facebook.
Forget it about
face-to-face.
it. We're finished.
Okay.
There's always the circus. I tell my family, I'll feed you. They're looking for a bearded lady to make a comeback.
We actually got a bunch of
My wife.
Comicstaan questions again.
Oh.
Shreyas, where do you stand on Comicstaan?
Did you also try out for this?
I'm going to try out for season 3. I didn't try out
But
for
how do you know there'll be a
Okay.
season 3? Have you seen season 2?
Yeah. What? Wait, what are the stands to take on Comicstaan? Like, what?
No, so there is. I auditioned 2
Only
times
that
and I was turned
OML,
down. So Cyrus has been on a crusade to have
Somebody
me on
came
the
on the show and explained to us how it runs. That the OML or whatever who
Yeah.
produced the show. So then their comics who are already part of their outfit or promise to be part of their outfit will probably advance. There could
Right.
be a correlation if CBI investigates.
Right.
And after NDTV, they should go for this. Comicstaan. These are the 2 big scams of India that have to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the question that addresses it. Abhishek Sharma says, "Hi Cyrus, you have made my travel much funnier with your podcast. However,
Out of 31.
I can see stand-up comedians around you are overly critical of Comicstaan. Please ask them to not be jealous of that show. They should be a little more mature than that."
I don't think you're jealous. They didn't put him on the show. They didn't let him finish his set. So we are only looking at the point of... See, in any of these shows, do they really allow the person to do a test
Right.
of sorts? Does he cross that test? They're all intangible products and subjective, difficult to answer.
Right.
So a bit like bodybuilding also. End of the day, it's difficult to say for sure. So my only point is that why didn't they let Abbas go ahead? Give him a proper chance. They didn't give him a proper chance. Give him a proper chance.
They gave me a proper. The first season, I did my set and everything. I just wasn't selected. The second time around, I didn't go further than the interview round. That's what happened.
Yeah, so that's not fair. And then if you look at those who advance, if we do a test of who wins and all that, and we find that there's a connection, then there'll be trouble.
Right.
No,
Because
so
as you
last
know-
week we had Rajiv from Roadies, who was a part of the AMA. He said something very, I think, poignant, where he said that it's a good show if you want to see how behind the scenes of the comedy world looks like, but it's not a great talent show for comedians. Like the funniest person will maybe not.
The funniest
be the-
person is still in the circus. They got it all wrong. They're wasting time with this Comicstaan. But behind the scenes apparently is what the show is all about. So honestly, I've never seen the show. So I should not speak about it. Have you seen the show?
I've seen the show.
Do you like it?
Okay, so
I think the comics on it are pretty funny. And the way I look at it is that these comics are doing more shows. They are on more curated shows. That brings more people to the shows. And
Win-win.
in that regard,
Win-win.
it's a win-win. And like, it's not like you need Comicstaan to be a successful comic. Like, even without Comicstaan, you can do whatever
So if
you
you're
want.
hard of hearing BJP minister and you hear Comicstaan, do you say, what, immediately, or you didn't pick it up properly? I mean, that could be an issue later.
they are at war with some comedians. So yeah.
Which comedians?
Kamra's show was cancelled last week. We
Oh,
spoke
the
about
BJP,
this.
I'm talking about Comicstaan. Who's Comicstaan at war with?
Comicstaan cancelled.
Comicstaan is in fighting with somebody?
No. They are doing their own thing.
Kamra had a show in Nagpur yesterday.
How did it happen?
I think I haven't heard any news, so I think it
So
happened.
the show happened. The funeral is at 4:30. I really need to rush.
Okay, this one comes from Meghna.
And the password is your right hand. That's the Congress.
Of course, yes. Meghna Murlidhar.
Haan, bolo.
Greetings from Frankfurt and Kemcho.
Gujarati girl married to a Tamilian guy.
So she clarifies that. She's like, okay, before the question, my name is Meghna Murlidhar and no, I'm not married to a South Indian and I am a Gujarati.
But then how is
we don't know.
Wait, but how did you preempt?
Because she's written
out of the 30, 15 I've written before. It's the same letter we are repeating.
Right.
For my question, Comicstaan is super fun and it would be even more amazing if we have you on the judge panel. What would be your take on that? Can we see you in the next season?
Ask me all these things all the time, but I have to tell you, no one's ever invited me for whatever reason to their comedy pajama festival and to their... They never call me. I think I'm just too old. They just won't let me come on anything. It's a persecution after some time.
Okay, next
I
one.
have never been called on any of these things. Or maybe just class.
Mayur Patil says, Hi Cyrus. Past few episodes you've been harassing Abbas on not getting onto Comicstaan. So let me defend him by saying that it's a horrible show. It's damn boring and damn sad to see all the comedian judges who were actually good in their early days, Kanan, Biswa, Zakir, etc., have seriously become damn boring, and such shows is making them even more boring. Abbas, please do your own thing in your own way and don't be a sellout by going on such a pathetic show. My question finally is that why does a horrible show like Comicstaan exist and why have all these comedians become so boring?
Yeah. Well, we need horrible shows because we have too many nice top-of-the-line shows like the 9 o'clock news shows in English. So I think we need something to feed off. I think there's space for all kinds of shows. Let me explain. I married your aunt, so you're not married, right? No. Yes, so you don't understand. So when you're married and you fight over Netflix, or in the old days our parents fighting over TV when there was one TV per family and all that, it's a huge issue because who the F is going to decide what is good?
Yeah.
So bloody subjective, this whole thing. Now, I'm hooked on these Korean gangster films, for example, whose names I can't tell you, but I enjoy it because the fighting is fabulous, I don't know, there's something in it that I like. My wife too wants a divorce. She can't bear it and she wants to watch some guy called, I forgot his name, who does a gardening show. It's actually a show about gardening. They discuss leaves, flowers, chronic fatigue in plants.
But those shows are
chronic
very relaxing.
fatigue in plants. You're a fucking plant. You're not running around fetching a ball. You're not chasing a deer and killing it or being chased by a polar bear. You're a plant. The breeze moves you twice a day, little bit 1 inch. That's it. Somebody throws water on you. You don't have to open your mouth also. What the hell? How can a plant have chronic fatigue? And this is the conversation. And people like my wife enjoy it. So fuck Comicstaan. This is the evolved comedy that I can't understand. I want my Korean gangsters in a language I don't understand, but the guns go off. Bang, bang, bang. They wear nice suits and they shoot each other. That's the best films of all.
I want to say he's asking why have the comedians become so boring. They're not boring. I think a lot of our comedians peaked very early.
No. When you become a judge, I've seen this.
You can't be cool
as
a judge, I feel.
No, they just forget that they're still the same guy. They suddenly feel it's like the monitor of the class. Ab main judge hu, I'm Kanan Gill, but now I'm also LLB, double LLB judge or whatever. Right. And then the whole avatar changes and you start, why do people advise other people? That's something I've never understood. Why can't they just say I didn't like it and end the matter? This advice, it's not just in comedy. You see all the reality shows, everybody's advising. Yaar, it was so good, yaar. बिल्कुल मुझे इतना पसंद था. One thing is 4 hours. How you should not be a singer. But it takes 4 hours. We don't like to be so rude like that Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. But I met only one name of that you mentioned. Kenny works with us.
Kenny was there.
Kenny is always funny.
Abhish has come on the show.
Kanan has come to our shoot in CNBC and he never said a word. He sat there for 3 hours. I think our show was really bad. 3 hours kuch nahi bola. And then I didn't even know he was a comedian because he came with Kenny's and she didn't introduce us while we were shooting and all. On the way out, she said, he's doing this show with some other guy and they do this. I think they used to do a film critique show.
Yeah.
So I said, but he's a comedian.
Movie reviews.
Because he's the most quiet person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
And it was sweet and all that.
I think
he didn't speak.
It's just
his real personality.
I think the wave will happen again.
No, his personality may not be extroverted. He just comes live on stage.
Right.
Like Kunal is an introvert, my friend. He's not great with people. We go out somewhere, he doesn't talk much.
Right.
Except if the food doesn't come on time. Then suddenly
that's because the delivery boys are on strike.
Yeah, but okay. But so what it means is in every family we must have Hindu, Muslim, Jain. Everything should be in one family. Yeah. So we can also reciprocate. तेरे को अभी दिखाएगा मैं बैंक. चल.
Okay, the last one comes from Tejas Khedekar. What do the panel think about the abrogation of Article 370? We spoke about this last time.
Yeah.
Is it bad, good, or the way Centre executed it is bad and undemocratic? Also, I'm new on the IVM Podcast Network. Is there any political and current affairs podcast you recommend? Okay, so first I'll do the recommendations. The Seen Unseen, Pragati Podcast, Ganatantra, and of course, How to Citizen.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah, please.
So this is obviously a plug email. There's nothing about us, man. And our question has been answered last week.
Another plug is last week's Cock and Bull, where we spoke about Article 370. So, but how long do you think before things return to some sort of normalcy?
There are 2 points here. Like in any part of the world, you have to look at the ground reality. Whatever you do, you can't be so high-handed. You have to listen to what people want also, wherever they are. In any part of the world. I'm not talking just about Kashmir. That's one. Two, and very important, this is a mistake made by governments long ago. If you're going to start with special status, you're going to have trouble. How can you do that? If you're going to be one country or anywhere in the world where there's one country, everybody has to be the same. Once you start making aapko 19, mere ko 20, mere ko 22, aapko 24, and then there's just no end to it.
But that special status was the condition on which they became an integral part of India.
Then think it through. Those leaders, I will not mention names, should have thought all this through.
Right.
You're paying for that now. Because now, like we discussed, again we're discussing the same thing, going back to the Mandal Commission or reservation or anything else, you can't just pull it out. You know, if my wife allows me to sleep around, then suddenly she can't change her mind. After 25 years of letting me bring girls home, I mean, not that this is just my fantasy, but you know, the reality, you know what the reality is. No?
I think if you start watching that gardening show, you might get that confession.
Bob. His name is Bob. Monty Bob. Monty Don. Monty Don. Now, his name sounds like a Hindi film villain from the 70s. I told her, his name is Monty Don. It's a put together. There's no Englishman called Monty Don. If he's a Punjabi, Monty first name, I expect.
Monty Don's Paradise Gardens.
That's it. That's it. That's the show I have to watch. Monty bloody Don. That means my wife finds a gardener more sexually interesting than me. That's the truth of the matter. And plants. How can they? Do you know anyone who talks about plants? They talk about plants for a full half hour. Their show gets season after season. We can't survive one bloody winter.
His real name is Montagu Dennis Wyatt. Goes by Monty.
Does your wife, does she like maintain a garden or something? Is she interested?
She does. Huh. It's called my hair. All right, I think that's it. Bye, guys. Enough. Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
And that's what Cyrus says.
How aware do you think you are of your laws and rights? Do you look up to laws when you are caught up in situations? Do you know what your rights are when you're stuck somewhere bad? Well, here's a show that can help you move an inch closer to being aware of what your rights are. Tune into Know Your Qanoon with me, Amar Rana. This is a podcast meant to answer all your law-related queries. Catch Know Your Qanoon every week on the IVM website or the app or anywhere you get your podcast from.
Hi listeners, we at Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund have come up with a special podcast series called MF 101 in collaboration with Bloomberg Quint. MF 101 is an informative series that will help you understand the recipe behind mutual fund investments. And what's more, it's coming from the chefs of the mutual fund buffet table, from the very own fund managers and analysts who are the manufacturers of the funds that help you realize your investment goals. New episodes out every Monday. You can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.